as the Inclusive Midwife on IG, and I'm working with Keisha, who is the Hood Midwife _Quiche on IG. And so today is our video on perineal lacerations for Safe Space Talk. We appreciate you guys so much for watching. I adore you guys. Thank you. So we're going to jump right in. What is a perineal laceration? We have a 1st through a 4th degree. First, base of the vagina and the skin on the outside. Sometimes it can even be where you pee, around your urethra. That's one of the smallest it's the smallest hair that you can have. You can have abrasions, you can have intact, which is nothing going on, abrasions like when you skin your knee, and then the tiniest degree, which is a 1st degree. Then you have a 2nd, which goes down to the tissue, not just the skin and the tissue, but it goes to the muscle. And so that's going to be where you find your 2nd degree tears. And then your 3rd is going to involve muscles all the way down to the top part of your rectum. So that's where you have your 3 different 3s. It's an A, a B, a C, depending on how low it goes. So A, B, C is getting closer and closer to the rectum. And then you have your 4th degree, which is whenever your rectum here and your vagina, all of this in between has kind of been torn. And so it's basically, we can put our finger into your rectum and feel it up here in the vagina. Like when we push up. So that's the one that we try to avoid the most. Sometimes we have to actually fix those in the OR. Not to scare you to death. That's not something that's very, very common. But when we do it in the OR just for the better lighting. So sometimes we actually just do them in the room. Nothing wrong with that. But if we need extra lighting and we need, spotlights because it's dark in that vagina, we can go ahead and we can actually take it to the OR for that. So a lot of things can control. So we know what the laceration is. Now, what causes a laceration? Nothing you can do. It's a tissue issue and a space issue and a positional issue with baby. There's too many multitudes of reasonings that you can have a laceration to say this is what happened and this is why your vagina had a tear that went down. So a lot of it is very variable. You have to talk that over with your provider because I could go over 10,000 reasons as to why it may have happened. Sometimes you can have a provider that's doing very rigorous massaging of the perineum for a long time. Don't really need that as much. I tend to go in and maybe give you a little bit of a stretch, or I sometimes will go in and push on your rectum to say, can you feel this? I want you to push in this area for me. So that's so we went over what they are, and then the second part that we went over just now was what causes them. Nothing 100% in particular. We usually try and do the best we can. What can I do to prevent them? Good pelvic floor therapy, good pelvic floor relaxation techniques, good stretches. Not going to be a guarantee, but what can I do to lower them? Make sure that you're very well hydrated. Drink your water. Eat your protein. Make sure that your muscles are fed well. So you want to make sure that you are coming in not super dehydrated, not super hungry, not overhydrated, just having yourself at a nice balance so that your tissues are at their best behavior. And then sometimes I'll put heat to the perineum. I love putting heat to the perineum. A, because the sensation is there and it actually gives you something soothing to push against. B, it gives more blood to the tissue, so it makes it more amenable to stretching as opposed to putting ice on it, which is going to contract the tissue. So I usually will use heat. A lot of times I'll do perineal support. Sometimes I'll be totally hands off. It all just depends. But I'm looking at your perineum and how it bulges to accommodate the baby. And so sometimes I'll take my hand and I'll literally just put it at the base of your vagina like that, or I'll put it against it like this just to hold that tissue taut. And then as the baby's head comes out, I'll have my fingers up here to kind of prevent you from tearing there. I'll have my hand down here until the baby's head comes totally out. And then when the baby's entire head is sitting right here, then I'll really kind of sandwich your baby. And if you can imagine, Whenever I say I'm going to sandwich your baby, this is what I mean. So the baby's coming out of your vagina. So you've got my hand down here holding. You've got my fingers. They're facing this way for the sake of the video. They're up here protecting your urethra, where you can also have a tear in your labia. So now I've protected your perineum, protected your perineum, protected your perineum. Timmy came out. So Timmy's sitting outside of your vagina now. So here's Timmy and here's your vagina. Then I take my hands, and as he restitutes, I call burrito. So I'm holding him like this. And as he restitutes, I'm continuing to keep my hand down here. And he's just getting lower and lower and lower. And as he comes out, as I'm holding your perineum still, he's going to be lifted up. I still got my hand down here. And then I bring him up onto you. Two things that I feel like a lot of patients can do to kind of help. Push the way that I guide you, because most of the time I'm telling you to not push for a reason, or push softer for a reason. And another thing that they can do is listen to the biofeedback that your body's telling you. If it's not time to push, then it's not time to push. We 100% cannot promise you that it will not happen. It depends on the integrity and the nutrition and so many different things that come into play way before. What can I do to try to decrease my chances? We went over that's the hydration, that's the protein, that's giving yourself that pelvic floor training, that's taking deep breaths in and blowing them out so that your pelvic floor drops. I always say no Kegels. So this is your pelvis whenever you're doing Kegels. Kegel, Kegel, Kegel. If you think about it, I don't want this over and over and over again. I want that perineum to stretch. I want that tissue to give. So I like to put heat to it. That's another way to prevent it. And then practicing with your bowel movements. I cannot stress that enough. That's my favorite way to teach my new parents. How do I push effectively? How do I know I'm doing it right? Learn your open glottis pushing. Learn if it works for you. Learn if it doesn't work for you. And practice your pushing literally each time. I want you to remember that the anus and the vagina, they have like a figure 8 muscle that goes around both of them. So when one is involved, the other one becomes involved as well. So what we're trying to do is just keep that 8 part, this here that I'm moving, we're keeping that as intact as we possibly can. So that's my quick little ditty on perineal lacerations. First, all the way to a fourth. First is the superficial tissue. Second is going to be muscle involvement. Third is going to be muscle involvement, including the rectum. Fourth is going to be muscle involvement through the rectum. So now we have one whole all together. Then that we'll use some artificial lubricants sometimes. I really like using things that are oil-based. So I like to use mineral oil. That's one of my favorite things. Something that's not going to turn around and dry that tissue right back out. If we have to repair, we'll use local anesthesia, which is lidocaine. So we'll kind of go and we'll take it and we'll go right here, shot right here, shot right here, shot right here, and then we'll repair what we need to if you went unmedicated. If you have an epidural, then we just let your epidural stay in place while we do your repair, and we don't have to stick you usually we don't have to stick you with local if you have the epidural, and sometimes we still do. It's going to feel really numb, just like you get it whenever you're at the dentist and they're doing stuff to you, but you're letting them because it doesn't bother you as much. And we don't count the sutures. That's something else. They say, how many sutures did I get? They are absorbable. You never come back to get them repaired, and they are made to suffice to hold that perineum in place. They're very strong sutures. So you don't want to take a bunch of stool softeners, because we don't want you having diarrhea that can infect that tissue that's been repaired. We want you to take them exactly as we order them, just to keep your body hydrated, and a lot of times fiber is better. So love you guys so much for watching. I hope this helps a lot. Please send any questions. You can reach out to me on IG, The Inclusive Midwife. You can reach out to Keisha, The Hood Midwife. We are always here for you, okay? And we can't wait to be back together recording. We miss you guys so much. We can't wait to have another big video day. But I hope you guys will reach out if you need us. We're going to get a safe space email here so that you guys can send it in the comments. Other than that, find us on social media and send it to us, and then we can answer you right on back. Talk to you guys later. Bye.